In our modern society, we have become very reliant on electronic communication. We sometimes forget about those members of the human population who do not have access to computers and also lack the knowledge to use them. This has created a new level of inequality in the world. In the West, we are able to use our technology to increase our prosperity. Those nations and also members of our own country who are unable to participate due to factors like age, location, ethnicity, and culture are unable to participate in the global exchange of knowledge. This growing problem is called the digital divide. According to Dr. Hamanoun Touré, the Secretary General of the International Telecommunication Union, we have entered the knowledge society, and everyone must have access to participate. The Internet is the most powerful potential source of enlightenment ever created. Governments must regard it as a basic infrastructure, just like roads, waste, and water. The digital divide refers to the inequalities between people who have access to and the resources to use modern information and communication technology, otherwise known as ICT. These things can be like desktop computers, the internet, and the people who do not have them. This includes those that have and those who do not have the necessary skills, knowledge, and abilities to use ICT to advance their knowledge and achieve their desired objectives. With the emergence of a knowledge society, many people predicted that poverty and inequality would go away. The sharing of knowledge hoped to erase problems that had plagued humanity for millennia. However, since the explosion of the internet and computer technology in the mid-1990s, we did not see these problems go away, and in many instances, they actually became worse. A 2010 report by the Federal Communications Commission on the digital divide argues that the social function of the internet has changed dramatically in recent years. What was until recently a supplement to other channels of information and communication has become increasingly a basic requirement of social and economic inclusion. This trend has led to a persistent digital divide. While broadband subscriptions among U.S. households have increased steadily, Americans with less education and lower incomes are far more likely to be offline. A federal survey of the 54,000 households conducted on October of 2009 revealed glaring demographic disparities. In 2009, 84% of households with college-educated individuals 25 years and older had broadband access. By contrast, only 28% of households with individuals 25 or older with less than a high school diploma had broadband access. Residents with high incomes and education levels, those who are younger, Asians and whites, married couples, and the employed are more likely to have access to broadband at home. Even when controlling for factors such as income and education, African Americans and Latinos lag behind in broadband adoption. About 50% of African American and Latino households report a broadband connection. This compares to about a 72% connection rate for white households. An FCC study on broadband adoption shows similar statistics. 69% of white adults, 59% of African American adults, and 49% of Latino adults have adopted broadband. Technologies like Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and blogs enable users to create content online without having to understand much about the technology. Many users do little more than post photos and status updates on their Facebook pages and do not interact to any degree with technology. And in the poor world, the gap is with those who lack the education or perhaps the language skills to use. In 2010, just 10 languages accounted for 82% of internet users, with English and Chinese speakers alone making up over 50%. Why we must eliminate the digital divide. Economics is one of the biggest reasons. Today, internet access is required for job searching and is also part of our civil life. Computers are now used for Social Security, driver's licensing, applying for grants and loans. It is hard to find an area of our lives untouched by the internet. However, if you are living in a remote or impoverished area, you are not likely to have access. Even the simple mobile phone can mean the difference between unemployment and getting a job. In the states and countries that have limited technology, there is an unequal balance in trade. As nations invest in technology and education for their people, there is a correlation with economic growth. Education is another huge factor. People are now able to attend college remotely. This can make a huge difference in someone's life. The political system has learned also the importance of the internet by ensuring voters have facts a democracy will continue to flourish. How do we close the gap? By focusing on education and computer literacy as a start. Computer skills must be a part of all curriculum starting at the elementary level. By focusing on basic skills, all children can be assured an equal footing in the education system. For older people, computers can be very daunting. However, with free classes, many people can learn the fundamentals. Providing computers. There are many organizations that are partnering with businesses to reuse old computers for poor families here in the United States and other countries. Another organization is One Laptop Per Child. They are a dedicated nonprofit who have developed the XO laptop. Here's a brief segment on the XO.
One laptop per child. That's our name and our vision. We want to create educational opportunities for the world's poorest children by providing each and every one with a rugged, low-cost, low-power, connected laptop. And this is that laptop. Say hello to the XO, a computer unlike any other, designed specifically to work in tough conditions and remote areas. It comes packed with software and activities to help kids learn, explore, create, and share. No matter what language they speak or where they live, the XO connects them to each other, to the world, and to a brighter future.
Internet access continues to be a problem for the vast majority of the people in the world. In the United States, internet access is expensive for most families. Many families may use a shared data plan using their smartphones. In other parts of the world, there is no access to speak of. One of the most exciting ideas is coming from Google. Google's Project Loon hopes to solve the access problem with this innovative idea.
The goal of Project Loon is to bring internet to the almost 2 out of 3 people on the world who don't have internet access today. And we're doing that using high-altitude balloons.
3, 2, 1.
The very first tests we did showed that it could work. So we began to think, wow, we're going to need to have a manufacturing system that can manufacture many of these balloons. We're going to need to have a mission control system that can keep track of the balloons. We're going to need to have an operations team that can launch these balloons and then recover them when they're ready to come down. So each piece of the process got to be bigger. We had to scale up. It was pretty challenging, getting the balloons to be more durable and more long-lasting. For a while, many of them leaked for some reason or another, and they would come down over the course of a few hours or a few days. It was like a detective job to figure out what was introducing tiny leaks. Now our balloons last over 100 days.
The United Nations has recognized the importance of the information society and has hosted several conferences to help resolve the problem of the digital divide. The Secretary General of the United Nations, Kofi Annan, stated, "What do we mean by an information society? We mean one in which human capacity is expanded, built up, nourished, and liberated by giving people access to the tools and technologies they need with the education and training to use them effectively." The world is now approaching a critical place in our history. If we are to continue our civilization and prosper equally, then we must share in our knowledge and technology. If we are unable to share in our technology, then we must shoulder the burden of caring for the mass of people left behind in the digital age. Thank you for viewing my film.